What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to start trying to figure out the problem that we got going on here with the 2017 Ford Raptor. So in a previous video, I had changed out the spark plugs on this. While I did that, and I don't believe I showed that in the video, one of the spark plugs actually had some oil on it, which kind of led me to believe that one of the weird sounds that I hear from this truck on startup is because it's fouling out that plug. So what we're gonna do is remove that spark plug, which was number 2 here on the driver's side, and see if oil is back in there and if that's what's causing this. So one thing that I have Nate doing here right now is removing the cover. This is a foam cover that sits over top of the intake and all your stuff underneath there, your valve cover. So it is a foam cover, which I thought was kind of interesting because typically these are hard and plastic. It is 2 10mm nuts right there, so he's gonna pop those off here. I will take them. I don't want to lose them. Yeah, that's horrible.
That's it?
Yep, go ahead and pop that sucker off. You just lift it the front and then it'll pop up. It's on a little rod, a little locked in spot there in the back, but once you lift up and pull forward, it comes right out. Just pull forward. There you go. Fantastic. Full performance. So then next we're gonna want to try and take the spark plug boot out here from number dose. Yep, right there. That should be an 8mm, so you're gonna have to change that out. Yep.
This one? What number is this?
It's number 2 on that side.
Yeah, but how's it like actually ordered?
I mean, you're asking firing order? I don't know. I'd have to Google it. And I'm filming right now with my phone, so What's you huff and puff at me? As soon as we're done with this, I'm gonna make you clean your room. If you see right here, Nate's gotta get a bit of a stool to get in there and work on it.
I'm already short enough.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? I will say that I needed one of these as well to work on the Raptor last time when I changed the plug. So go ahead and pop off. Yeah, unplug it. Pull the white clip back. There you go. Pull your boot out. Fantabulous. And then we will reach up in there with the spark plug tool and get the plug out and check it. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Make sure you're looseying.
I did loosey.
Right. You can probably pull the wrench off and twist it by hand. Unless you want to do it the hard way.
It's not looseying fast enough.
Because you're not twisting it enough. Alright, let's see the end of the plug. Is there oil on it? Yep, you can see the oil there. All right, well, what we're gonna do is take the valve cover off and replace the seals. So I went to Ford to get a new gasket set, but for the Raptor, unlike the Mustang, which I was able to get everything as one big set, they sell it as individual pieces, meaning your gasket that goes around the spark plugs, your gasket that goes around the intake holes, as well as the gasket around the valve cover itself are all sold separately. I wanted to get the rings for the spark plugs as well as the valve cover itself, but they said the valve cover was going to be hard to get because it's being used right now for recalls that they have at Ford. So I was only able to get the spark plugs, which is what I know that we need, and I went ahead and I grabbed all 3. I'll put the part numbers down in the description so you guys can check that out. Those cost me just a little bit over $41 to get the 3 of those. So I don't know what they cost individually. I'd have to look at the invoice themselves. But I'm gonna have Nate reach up in here and we're gonna start taking off the valve cover so we can get this taken care of. So looking at the valve cover here, we're gonna have to disconnect the VVTs. It looks like we have our sensors here in the rear as well. That might be positioning sensors. We need to take out the other boots that we have here for our ignition coils, disconnect this here, which evaporator or something. I don't know, we're removing it. And then there's a series of bolts that are around here, which we'll kind of count them out as we do it. And then it looks like a bracket that sits over top that connects to the tube, the inlet tube to the turbo. So there's a few things that we got to take apart just to get this thing out to put those O-rings in here, which is going to be fantastic. Nate's going through here right now, just kind of removing stuff. He's got out the coils. He's working on disconnecting the wiring. He's doing the VVTs right there. Then he's going to move on to the back for those back cam sensors. And then you should be clear to start removing bolts. Do you think you have what it takes to handle removing the bolts?
Yeah.
All right, good
I
talk.
need to get this out first. My nails aren't long.
Mine aren't either, but I'm able to do it. You pull back and then squeeze together.
Got it.
Good job. See, all you needed was somebody to talk you through it. Nate got all his wiring undone, so now he's backing out all of the bolts that are holding in place the valve cover.
Oh, that one came all the way out.
Huh. Interesting.
Are they supposed to do that?
No, normally they don't come all the way out, but it looks like it went
came
past
all
that
the way
little
out.
nub. Well, you've now broken the Raptor. Another development, the intake manifold here sits directly on top, overlapping the valve cover right here. So it appears that we also have to take off the intake manifold to be able to get that out. I'm assuming we probably only have to remove the bolts and lift it up enough to get it out. We probably don't have to disconnect everything and take it out,
okay.
But at least take those bolts out all the way around so that...
So do you want me to leave the sensors in?
For now, yes. Unless it comes to where the whole thing has to come out, which I doubt that it will. So Nate's in here still working on getting the valve cover off. He's finding some random brackets that are down here tied into it. I've already loosened all of the bolts that sit up here for the intake manifold, so we can lift that as soon as he gets those bolts out, and then hopefully change this out pretty quick. It is 7 o'clock. Nightfall is that way. Rain is that way, and we're racing the clock because I leave at 5:45 in the morning, which means that we won't be able to get this done, and it's all on him. So we are trying to get that bracket off there. I believe that's the last piece that we need to be able to get the intake manifold off. That goes from this tube here to the lower turbo. If we go in here, we can see Nate can actually reach that bracket through the wheel well as I get in his face and don't allow him to see it. But you guys can see right there, that's what he's going for. Once he has that, we should be able to lift this whole tube up and get that bracket off of there. As I said, I've already loosened all of those bolts up there, so we should be able to lift the intake and then pull the valve cover off of the vehicle, and we should be good to go. Again, daylight gone swiftly in that direction. Time is against you, Nate. Nate's almost got it to where it can come out. There was one of the tubes here had to be disconnected. You can kind of see right there where we had to disconnect it from to be able to get both of those tubes out of that bracket and off the side so he could get to those two, what are they, 8 millimeters or 10 millimeters?
I don't know.
Okay, well, that's good from the guys who's taking it off.
I think they're 10s.
All right. And then it looks like there's one more bolt right there, dude, that you missed.
Where?
Right there.
This?
Nope, below it. You
Oh,
see it?
yeah, I can see how I missed that.
Yep. You don't pay attention.
Yep.
So we're trying to get this apart, took off all these bolts, but there are actually additional bolts, in particular that one right there. And where's the other one?
The one in the back, or is that the one that I saw earlier?
That's the one you saw earlier. I took out.
Well,
but this bolt right here is hidden under the intake manifold, so that thing has to come up for you to be able to get that one out. So now that that's pulled up and out of the way, we should be able to get that last bolt and hopefully get this thing off. Way longer job than what I would have figured it would have been.
Even though it is a little longer, we probably could have started earlier.
Yeah,
We would have had a lot more light, but you know, it's whatever.
I don't know what you did.
We're out here now, so.
You were out getting coffee and zooming around and, oh, Jesus, kids now. Finally got the valve cover off. It took us, what, like 2.5 hours to do that job?
It doesn't matter, it was way too long.
Yeah. So we're pulling the gaskets out right now. This was the one that was bad. These things aren't easy to get out. I know that it looks like you're supposed to hammer these out and then tap them back in. The problem I'm having with trying to tap them out is I'm afraid of breaking any of this plastic, and then this thing is completely shot. So what I'm doing is coming in here with my snips, grabbing onto the back end here, just kind of twisting it until they fold in on themselves, and then pulling it out like that. Since we don't need to reuse this, this isn't going to be a problem. We just need to figure out then how to tap them back in. To get these back in, I'm putting a little bit of oil here so it helps them slide back in, cleaning off a bit of this dirt here, kind of setting it up here, The first one, you could kind of push it in to get it started. Yep, see right there, push in to get started. But then I have this 32 millimeter socket, and all I'm doing is just taking the mallet and tapping it in. And there we go, she in.
All right, so it looks like this thing had some gasket material on there. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna scrape all that off.
That is from your timing chain cover, your timing cover. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of sealant and we're gonna just dab it right there to kind of bridge that gap. So everything is still the way that it was. Not a lot, but just a dab. Everything is going back in right now. Nate is trying to make sure he remembers where all of his bolts went.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I already plugged in the light. I don't know how much you want me to do. I mean, don't be lazy.
Yeah, you're right, my bad.
Good deal. So as you can see behind me right now, the Raptor is hooked up to our trailer. We had to grab Ethan's car from the school. So the Raptor is working fine now. I haven't noticed any other problems with the performance of the vehicle. We are starting to hear a ticking noise, which if you're a Raptor owner, you know means cam phasers. So that's another job that we're gonna have going on this, as well as the brakes. But the reason we had to pick up his car is because low compression in cylinder 3, and there is a whole lot of glitter in the oil. So we're gonna be taking this thing apart in upcoming videos. So bunch of engine work coming. If you guys are into that, or if you wanna see what's going on with this vehicle, go ahead and give us a follow. Make sure to give us that big thumbs up, and make sure to hit those bell notifications so you don't miss anything else that's coming up here on GSSG. Until the next one, peace.